In fact, when you're talking about the gold mining in the river, the origin of the Indian dispute was sand mining in the Uttarakhand rivers as well as encroachment issues. And the only instance that comes to me immediately where Indian rivers had now precious stones or any important metal was, I think it's from state of Orissa, where Mahanadi, historically it was said that it had diamond in its bed, and that is how where the biggest dam is actually built is called Hirakud, which literally means a small mountain of diamond. But right now there is nothing of that sort in that place. Now coming back to today's program, now we have the most awaited presentation, the speech by our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice Adarsh Kumar Goel. He is a former Judge, Supreme Court of India and Chairperson, National Green Tribunal. Although he needs no introduction, he has decided still I would take the liberty to say a few words about his judgments. He has delivered constitutionally important judgments which has got ramification on institutional aspects of governance. And why I particularly focus on the institutional aspects of governance is be it the NJSC case, be it the use of technology in matrimonial dispute, be it the use of installation of CCTV, be it the disposal of pending matters, pending across all zonal benches of the National Green Tribunal. Once he is heading it or is part of the bench, he ensures that the docket is clear. Thank you, my lords, for taking out your time, valuable time, to be with us and share your thoughts on such an important topic. My lords.
President of the Indian Bar Association and also the representative from the TIS, eminent senior advocates present here, all the dignitaries, all the invited representatives from New Zealand, what is the other, Colombia, and all the present ladies and gentlemen. Let me first thank TIS and Bar Association of India for giving me opportunity of being here. I am very happy that you are discussing a very important subject, rivers in Indian law, opportunities and challenges for legal rights of rivers in India. Yes, surely this is a very important subject. Rivers' rights we are thinking. I am remembering what Sant Kabir said, तरवर फल नहीं खाते नदी न पीबत नीर परमारथ के वास्ते संतन धरा शरीर. Means rivers are thought to be giving everything. Trees are thought to be giving everything. Yes, they are. And I was in Assam. There was a very eminent singer and also I think actor, Bhupen Hazarika. And his poetry is mostly on rivers. And one famous song which is sung in Assam everywhere, Bhupen Hazarika, he incites the Brahmaputra, why you are not rising and fighting against injustice. Means that's the personality attributed by Bhupen Hazarika to river, that you can fight, you stand up, you fight. So the rivers sustain the life. Rivers are very important. And we are now thinking of rivers' rights. Certainly because we are getting everything from river and we are destroying the river. It was mentioned, I think by you mentioned, Mr. Prashant Kumar mentioned, that there is a temple or deity of Ganga. It is not at Harshil, it is at Gangotri. Gangotri, which is beyond Harshil. I have visited that. So, yes, I think Mr. Shyam Divan rightly mentioned, and I was thinking on the same line. What difference is it going to make whether you attribute it personality or not. It has in any way personality. It has in any way rights. And those rights are not rights for its own self, but those rights are to continue to serve, which the rivers have been serving. You have referred to Uttarakhand judgment. I'll make a brief mention of that and make some point. Let me make it clear, neither I am a jurist nor I am expert on the subject. I am just sharing some stray thoughts and whatever little experience I have gained in working in NGT. I will like to make few points, I think about 10 minutes. How much time I have? So 10-15 minutes. Okay. So there are a couple of small points I want to make, which you have mentioned, New Zealand, Colombia, rights of rivers, which you have mentioned. I want to mention one thing, that we can't copy any system. Every country, every society has its own problems. And solution which may be a good solution at one place may not necessarily be good solution here. What is the problem? First of all, let us understand why. It's not in vacuum. It's not merely an academic issue whether a river should be declared a person or not. If it is merely an academic issue, it is surely possible to solve it. But it doesn't stop there. We have been always saying, we have been treating water as God. We have been treating air as God. We have been treating earth as God. There can't be anything above that. In 1953, when Mount Everest was climbed, so there was a headline, Mount Everest conquered. And the then Prime Minister said, this is against India's ethos, that we can conquer Mount Everest. You may have climbed it, but don't think that you can ever conquer a mountain. Okay. In 1972, when there was Stockholm Conference about sustainable development, the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, she said, you are thinking of sustainable development, that's there in Vedas, thousands of years back. And she quoted a shlok from Atharva Ved, and also quoted her own father, the then Prime Minister, saying that you can't ever conquer nature. Nature is not your property. You are living with nature. You can coexist with nature. There is a life on the earth because of nature, because of water. We are searching on different planets. Is there a life? We are not able to find life anywhere. But we are destroying, we are not realizing the value. Why I said I got little experience is, I got some experts to give a report. How much is the loss caused? It is difficult to believe the amount in terms of money which is calculated as a loss by pollution. It may perhaps be almost equal to the country's budget, the amount of loss which is being caused. And of course, I was party to giving directions. Calculate in environment plan how much is loss being caused to the environment by different activities at the national level, at the state level, at the district level. There are some important constitutional provisions which have not been fully explored, but I got opportunity to refer to some of them, like 243 ZD. 243 ZD is a provision which was incorporated in, I think, chapter 11A of the Constitution, when local bodies were given constitutional status. And it requires, there is a 12th schedule, it requires on each item of 12th schedule, there should be a district plan, and environment is one of the subjects. So there should be a district environment plan. So there should be state environment plan. So to realize the value in a budget, to realize the value of environment, I think much more awareness is required than what we have. As far as the statutory framework is concerned, I will just take a minute to come to the point. The operative part of this Uttarakhand judgment, 2017 SCC online Uttarakhand, page 367, Mohammed Salim versus Uttarakhand, is while exercising parents' patronage jurisdiction, river Ganga and Yamuna, all their tributaries, streams, every natural water flowing with flow, continuously or intermittently of these rivers, are declared as juristic legal persons, living entities having status of a legal person with all corresponding rights, duties of a living person, in order to preserve and conserve river Ganga and Yamuna. The Director Namani Yange, Chief Secretary Uttarakhand and Advocate General Uttarakhand are declared persons in loco parentis as human face to protect, conserve, preserve river Ganga and Yamuna and their tributaries. These officers are bound to uphold status of rivers Ganga, Yamuna, and to promote the health and well-being of these rivers. Now, all right, maybe. What happens supposing this judgment is upheld? So what happens? Do we think that our rivers will be safe, will be protected? As Mr. Divan was mentioning, Water Act was enacted in 1974. Even before Water Act was enacted in 1974, IPC is 1860, which has section 268, 269, 270, which make it a criminal offense. How many people have ever been punished under those provisions? But the pollution is enormous, but hardly anyone has been punished. Water Act makes a criminal offense. 243W also gives responsibility to local bodies. There are a large number of Supreme Court judgments, one after the other, for protection of the water quality. But what has happened? Merely enacting a law is not enough. Even on Ganga, let me tell you, there is a legal framework much beyond Uttarakhand judgment. We have EP Act 1986, which has section 3 and 5, which are very, very vast. You can issue any order, which is of legislative nature. You can create any authority, which will have statutory powers in turn. There is a power of delegation in the act itself. So, in exercise of the power, we know one gentleman was on fast unto death for Ganga flow. Minimum, his demand was 30%. Of course, he died. His demand was never met. But because of that pressure, because sometimes governments act under pressure, a notification was issued, a statutory notification, under section 3 of the EP Act, which says that 15% of water flow will always be maintained in Ganga. How do you enforce it? Supposing it is not maintained, how do you enforce it? The people who have to do it, unless they will, unless there is an enormous awakening, there are different vested interests. Forget the vested interest. Negligence in performing statutory or constitutional obligation of clean environment. What are the main reasons which are threatening the rivers? It is not one person that it is my right or it is your right, it's my property or your property. We create of legal persons, DTs, who can't represent them but who have property. It's a concept of civil law. So, latest judgment in Ayodhya case, where the demand was or argument was that the whole area, the whole complex should be treated as a DT. That law is discussed, that you can't go beyond. This compulsion is there. Corporate entity as DTs are all right. As entities are juristic person, yes. Or DTs as juristic person, yes. But I was in Odisha. Anindita is from Odisha, she has seen. Lord Jagannath is a DT, governed by statute. But the entire property in Puri is encroached. There's nobody to protect. Which juristic person, how juristic person will protect itself? Even the guardian. Now in this judgment, those people who are declared as guardian, they are already guardians. Advocate General is already there. The Chief Secretary is already there under the Public trust doctrine also they have to do it. Now let me tell you, there are at least 8 issues which arise in protecting a river. And the first is environment flow. That's the major challenge which is arising, maybe because of dams, maybe there is too much of extraction of groundwater. Water, underground water is one. So if you draw water from somewhere else to maintain that, the river water will flow that side and the river flow will be obstructed. If you obstruct the catchment area, that also will affect the river. If you do mining, so that also will affect the aquatic life, that will also affect the floodplains. If you raise constructions, now there are huge constructions just adjacent to Ganga. We have been monitoring, in Supreme Court has been monitoring Ganga for more than 30 years. NGT has been monitoring Ganga for more than 10 years. But the problem is, they say, all right, now these are all encroached. There is no flow here. We can do nothing. There is all construction there. So what is to be done? Who is going to enforce it? Supposing it is, you say, Ganga, I am the owner of everything. I am the owner of my floodplain. But then again somebody will come. Now in public interest litigation or even in NGT Act or in the constitutional jurisdiction, anyone can come to court and raise an issue. Yes, this law is there. To what extent protection a river is entitled to, that law is there, not only under the Water Act, various other statutes. But then enforcement is the real problem. So environment flow is one thing. If there is a flow, the water can self-purify itself. If it is flowing at full speed, there is sufficient water, it can sustain itself. But in monsoon, the situation may be all right. But in lean season, the problem is if there is no flow, it will be difficult for river to sustain, and then people will construct, people will use it for their commercial benefits. Second is the water quality and prevention of the groundwater. Because if the groundwater extraction stops, now groundwater you just push electric button and you are getting water, and it is free. There are tube wells, you don't have to even pay electricity bill, you don't have to pay anything for groundwater. So these meters, new concept, those meters are not working. How much you can draw that much groundwater, but you don't have to pay anything. But then that meter is not working. There is unlimited extraction of groundwater in the river basins everywhere. And all these water juggling industries are set up in Ganga basin. So STPs are not working. We are generating sewage, automatically generating sewage. I don't know whether in Colombia or the countries which we are talking about, that sewage is all connected to the rivers. Hardly 50% of sewage treatment capacity which we have, this is all documented. We have continuous water monitoring mechanism, machines, and connected to central server with this CPCB. According to that, 351 river stretches are declared polluted in terms of BOD level, bio-oxygen demand. So the water is not fit even for bathing. There are water qualities A, B, C, D, E. So they are quite low. Then the use of treated water. Now we have STPs, the water is treated, but after that treatment, it is not utilized. It is either put back in the river or then again you have to treat it. Instead of that, if there is a proper water management, the treated water is used. For example, in washing in every railway station you need water. So we have said at least use it in washing the railway lines where you don't need potable water, but everywhere, most of the places in country, Railway is using potable water from the underground only for washing the railway lines. So there are industries, there are so many other purposes for which water can be saved, for drinking purposes, the rivers can be saved. These are all integrated things. This is not only one issue. There are so many connected issues. Then sludge management. And today we were discussing, we have unauthorized colonies, there is no sewage system, there is no connectivity to the sewage system. What they are doing is they are taking by trucks the sewage sludge they are collecting and then secretly putting again in Yamuna or in the drains, and they say we can't detect it, it is happening late night or early morning. So this management is a serious challenge. Then industrial pollution, there are CETPs which were thought to be a solution, that you can't set up your own treatment system, so you connect it to a central treatment system. But most of the central treatment systems are not maintaining the standards. So the pollution is going to the rivers again, industrial pollution, which has chemicals, which has other things. And recently we were dealing with the pharma companies, this residue of the antibiotics. So this is going to the rivers and making antibiotic resistant. They are saying we have not been able to finalize the standards. So in absence of, how do we enforce it? Then solid waste management, hazardous waste, every type of waste, every type of toxic waste, plastic waste is going to the rivers. Then these are some of the issues which, if rivers have rights, supposing the river is declared a person, who is going to protect these rights? So that is again a question. Ultimately, we are trying to follow laws enacted elsewhere. But yes, laws enacted elsewhere may be looked into, but you have to find a practical solution. You have to first understand what the problem is. We all know, I need not mention, but we have Ganga judgment in Kanpur Tanneries 1987. Then Kanpur municipality 1988 to stop sewage. The Supreme Court gave direction in 1987. Ganga right of clean water, there is obligation that you don't discharge under the Water Act. Stop discharging tannery effluent in Ganga. But it is still going on. Because who is going to stop? That is the problem. Either they are not stopping it, or they say it is happening in spite of our efforts. Then the municipalities. There are hundreds of municipalities which are discharging sewage in Ganga throughout from Uttarakhand up to Calcutta. Recently I went to Calcutta, outside Dakshineshwari temple, the water was quite black. They are saying, no, we are maintaining, so the water can be seen. Even by seeing it, you can say it's a polluted water. But that is the state of affairs. So, public trust doctrine, yes, it is applicable. Public trust doctrine means the right of everyone is there in it. You can't, as a state also, you as a sovereign state also, you can't defeat that right. It's like a fundamental right. And you can't even enact a law, you can't give permission, you can't treat it as your property. And you have to protect that right. So that is public trust doctrine, which is initiated in Supreme Court judgment in 1997. That's very much in existence. Then we have from 2004, large number of judgment, large number of orders, not 2004, rather 1984, Yamuna. Most of the rivers and Paryavaran Suraksha in 2017, Supreme Court fixed a deadline for the whole country that by 31st March 2018, that is the deadline, no sewage will go into any river or a water body. And if it goes, then the secretary will be prosecuted. But similarly, no industrial pollution. But I think the judgment exists only on paper. And Naidu judgment, very very well written judgment by Justice Jagannath Rao 1999, and thereafter. Now these issues were discussed in Narmada, that right of drinking water, right to exist, right to have water is a fundamental right. If you are living in far off area, you can't say don't take the river water there. So therefore the diversion of the river water from Narmada up to remote areas was permitted. Then right of aquatic life in the rivers which is affected by mining, and water bodies. There are already more than 1 lakh mapped or identified wetlands in the country. There are few lakh water bodies in the country, and large number, majority of them are under serious threat, not only rivers. And they are all those water bodies are also connected to rivers in some way or the other. Then we have various eco-sensitive areas, eco-sensitive systems, and Mr. Divan mentioned about the birds. Yes, because we passed the order, yes, everybody is right to criticize. They were ridiculing, you are saying, just for saving a bird, you are saying, don't have lines. This it's going to cost crores of rupees. So you can't, environment can't be counted in terms of wealth. So, but then that approach is required, and that thinking is required across the board. Merely passing orders, yes, you are right. We may pass any order, but that order will remain in paper unless there is commitment or willingness. Badkhal catchment area in 1997, Supreme Court said Badkhal catchment areas you must save. Don't do any mining up to a particular distance. Then shipbreaking activities. And we have so many dam cases, Teri Dam, Mulla Pariyar, etc., and coastal protection of Mahanadi. Recently there was a proposal in Odisha in Mahanadi. They wanted to reclaim. Every year, slowly they are reclaiming some part of it, and they wanted to set up a medical college in the reclaimed land. So these are various issues. Then sanitation, 62% sewage remains untreated, 70% solid waste remains untreated. There are 4,000 mountains of the garbage, which size is ever increasing. Every summer there are fires, and greenhouse gases are generated on continuous basis. So these problems are there. These problems solution is not a superficial solution of whether you treat it as a legal person or not. I will say it's just a format change. It's not a substance of the matter, not the heart of the matter. Heart of the matter is your approach. Are you really treating them gods and goddesses? And above everything, if the god and goddess, you are prepared to give your life and everything for the god and goddess. They are the mothers, they are fathers. But if you are for generating your wealth or your convenience or comfort, if you are polluting them or damaging them or killing them, then perhaps the society as a whole, unless the society as a whole changes the approach, no format change, no jurisprudence can save. What can save is if we have an approach that yes, we have to save it. And I came across, of course, in India I have seen in childhood, but abroad I have seen nobody is polluting the rivers in some places, and they are flowing unaffected, undisturbed. So it's possible to do it here. Not at all difficult. Not even a costly affair. As we may say, oh, we can't afford it. It's not like that. It's a matter of management. It's a matter of determination. If we determine, and what I will request Bar Association and TIS is to do research on how to change the mindset, because everything is starting in the mind. What is important is the mind, or growth of mind, or development of mind, or change of mindset, and then all institutions will be in right direction, all policies will be on right direction, and all challenges can be met. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Justice Goel, for this wonderful speech and reminding all of us that the need of the hour is the attitudinal change that we need to have. Mere format change without any substance change would not help us, or it would not further either our understanding of our ecosystem, the nature where we exist, or neither would it further the interest of the rivers or any other natural resource that we are showing our concern today. Now I request Professor Bibhu Prasad Nayak, Associate Professor TISS Hyderabad, to kindly give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Anindita. Thank you, sir. We would like to thank Justice Honorable Mr. Justice Adarsh Kumar Goel, sir, for being here today and share his valuable insights on this project. Thank you so much, sir, again for being here. We would like to thank all our speakers today, Shri Prashant Kumar, who is President of Bar Association of India, Shri Mohan Katarki ji, and Shri Shyam Divan. And also we are thankful to Shri R. Venkataraman ji, though he was not here, he was kind enough to send his thought through like which Dr. Anindita read out. And like this is part of a larger consortium led by Professor Axel, who is here with us today, who is a professor at University of Oslo Metropolitan University. And we have 4 university partners, Norwegian University of Life Sciences, which is represented by Professor John, then University of Canterbury and University of Bergen, like of which the researchers already spoke about 2 different cases. And we also have 2 other colleagues here from the project, Dr. Rahul Ranjan and Ms. Kavita, who are also part of this project. So I'm thankful to all of them for being here and sharing the insights. We are also thankful to Bar Association of India for agreeing for this discussion. It was really useful. We are looking forward to more such collaborations. Thank you so much, the Bar Association, for facilitating this, and we are certainly thankful to all honorable, like all advocates and all members of Bar Association of India who are here and researchers who are here with us today for the session. And we are also thankful to Professor Aseem Prakash, who also found his time to be here to be part of this discussion. So this is a formal note of thanks. We'd like to close here, and maybe we can also have conversations over dinner, whatever questions and thing. Yeah, thank you so much.
Although after the vote of thanks, there is no need for another vote of thanks, but it's my duty to thank TISS for approaching the Bar Association of India to have this discussion started. We are grateful to Professor Aseem as well as Professor Nayak, also to all other researchers and professors from abroad for being here and sharing your thoughts. We would like to continue our discussion over dinner. And I would also especially like to thank Professor, in the midst of professors, we end up giving the judges to be professors. My apologies for that. Honorable Mr. Justice Goel for taking his valuable time out for being with us. This is in fact one of the first post-pandemic functions that the Bar Association of India is having, and we're extremely thrilled. And just a very short, and some of our very senior members are present here, Mr. Datta, Madam Rachna Srivastava, and so many of them. If I miss out on anybody, kindly excuse that. Just a very small announcement. Taking cue from this physical function, the next would be led by Mr. Shyam Divan on another very important topic, that's on data protection. So we will be sending out the invites soon, and I expect all of you to be there as well. That's on 3rd of May. So with that, with the permission of the chair, we close this session. Thank you everybody for being here, and kindly join us for dinner.